Welcome to the hottest movie review on the internet today, the A-List Review. I am your host, the Game Changer, Wes Troop. And today I'm here with a very special episode. It's that time of the year again, ladies and gentlemen, but I was a little late with these videos this year. One being I was sick, and two being I wanted to hold off on my best and worst videos a little bit till I got to see a little bit of everything. And funny enough, this week the Oscar nominees and the Razzies were announced, so it's kind of good timing, I guess. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got to take the bad with the good, and we're going to look at what I thought were some of the worst movies of 2017. And let me tell you, there were a lot of bad movies this year. There were almost as many bad movies as good. It was crazy. I kept seeing bad movie after bad movie this year. And there are some bad movies that didn't even make my list, that I hated. There were movies that I thought were awful, and they didn't even make a dishonorable mention. So it was one of those type of years. But ladies and gentlemen, just let's keep in mind, this is my opinion, and these are my thoughts. What I think are the worst movies. You might like one of these movies. Well, good for you. That's your opinion. This is mine. I know, you gotta say that these days. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, first I will give off what I thought were some dishonorable mentions. They weren't quite horrible enough to make my top 10 list, but they were painful to sit through nonetheless. And then we'll go on to 10 through 1 of what I thought were the worst movies of 2017. Let's do it. Alright, so let's kick this off with a few dishonorable mentions. I hated these movies too, but I didn't quite hate them enough to put them on my top 10 worst of 2017. Titles like Pitch Perfect 3, Fist Fight, Transformers: The Last Knight, speaking of knights, Rough Night, King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul, The House, Kidnap, Wish Upon, and Friend Request. Now, on to the 10 movies that I thought were the worst of the year. Coming in at number 10, The Snowman. What looked like a fun throwback to 90s thrillers with a spectacular cast goes wrong in so many ways. The director even stated that the film won't make sense because 10 to 15% of the movie wasn't even filmed. There are so many scenes that are incoherent, end on odd notes, and it baffles me how this movie was released at all. Harry Hole, our hero, is supposed to be a legendary detective, but is so slow on picking up any clues. The snowman the killer uses as his calling card are also unintentionally funny, and seem like they're being used as reaction shots. Do I want to build a snowman with this? God, no. Coming in at number 9, Rock Dog, a harmless but dreadful film about a dog named Bodie who dreams of being a musician. The animation looks like something you'd see in a Saturday morning cartoon. It takes lots of elements from recent movies such as Kung Fu Panda or even Storks and makes them less likable. It also has so many unneeded subplots and really lame humor. This movie does not rock. Coming in at number 8, Unforgettable, a Lifetime quality movie that somehow made it to the big screen and got a better cast. Everything here is highly predictable as it takes every single cliche out of the stalker movie playbook. There's also a very odd and over-the-top sex montage. The script is horrendous and full of cheesy eye-roll-inducing dialogue and idiotic characters doing dumb things time and time again. The catfight finale showdown is ghastly and makes Katherine Heigl look like she's Michael Myers. Poor Rosario Dawson. Coming in at number 7, Geostorm, a disastrous disaster movie that gives us a couple of average weather scenes, like the characters running from lightning strikes and tidal waves, which are all spread out throughout the movie. The rest is full of long scenes of Gerard Butler trying to figure out who's behind the hacking on the station, dull political conversations, disaster movie cliches, howlingly bad one-liners, and very predictable twists. It also takes itself way too seriously, and it's just one big mess. Coming in at number 6, Flatliners, a ghastly remake that's one of the most boring movies I've seen in a long time. I had zero interest for any of these one-note, cookie-cutter characters or their stories. The movie tries to frighten audiences but fails at every turn, with horribly lame jump scares and lame visions of what the characters fear. It also looks like a television pilot that would debut on the CW network as far as quality goes. This movie certainly flatlines in every aspect. Coming in at number 5, Rings, the supposed reboot/sequel of The Ring that sees a college professor played by Johnny Galecki being cursed by the video who passes it on to his students. There's nothing remotely scary to be found here at all. Anything creepy from the video or Samara coming out of the TV, we've seen it before, and it's old hat by now. There's a scene that begins with an umbrella opening that's supposed to be a jump scare that literally had me crying from laughing so hard. The characters are some of the dumbest, shadiest, or most boring people I've seen in a long time. The acting is atrocious, with the newer actors reading their lines like a Twilight movie, and the veterans seem like they're reading off of a cue card. Much like the videotape itself, don't watch this. But there's some stuff that's worse. Coming in at number 4, a movie that, this movie really got totaled this year, the Emoji Movie, and for good reason, ladies and gentlemen. This soulless animation film taking place inside the phone of a freshman teen rips off Wreck-It Ralph and Inside Out, but makes it 1,000,000 times worse. Along the character's journey, they have to get past a firewall, have to get to Dropbox, and are chased by internet trolls. There's also shameless plugs for Twitter, Facebook, and even the characters get to play a round of Candy Crush and Just Dance. There's so many awful puns packed in, as well, that fall flat on their face, taking every easy joke possible. This is a movie that will make you count the ceiling tiles instead of watch the screen, and the god-awful villain made me want to poke my eyeballs out with a fork every time she appeared on screen. This is a charmless, annoying, unfunny, one of the worst animated movies I've ever seen that felt like 87 minutes of pure torture. But, coming in at number 3, Chips. Please stop letting Dak Shepard make movies. By the looks of the previews, I didn't expect to laugh much, and I was right on the money with this one, as I didn't laugh once. The humor is immature, and every so-called joke goes on way too long and is repeated again and again when it wasn't even funny the first time. Some of these gems include the characters vomiting from the smell of cat litter, getting erections from yoga pants, and talking about eating out of buttholes. The supporting characters are so forgettable that I actually forgot they were in this movie. Everything is so familiar with its story and its usual buddy formula. We've seen it in any kind of buddy comedy. It's a completely unfunny and pointless experience. Coming in at number 2, Boo 2, a Madea Halloween. My least anticipated film of the year is the sequel to my number 3 worst pick of last year. I didn't think the sequel could be worse than the first film, but Tyler Perry has proven me wrong once again. We go right back into the parlor room within the first 5 minutes of this film, where more pointless and never-ending conversations begin. So much of the movie feels the same, with the same teenage girl wanting to hang out with the same people at the same kind of party, and once again the same characters are being chased by these supposed monsters. Even the jokes are the same from the first film, and the underage girl jokes get kinda creepy after the 10th time. The only time I laughed here was at the horrendous acting by its supporting cast. This movie even looks cheaper from how it's shot, the actors stuttering over their lines, and terrible overdubbing of curse words, making it look like it's edited for television, even though they'll just have said the same word or even drop an F-bomb in the scene before. Boo 2 was a miserable experience, and quite possibly Tyler Perry's worst movie to date, and that says a lot. And finally, coming in at number 1, what I felt was the worst movie of 2017. You get the prestigious honor because Marlon Wayans didn't have a movie out this year. Ladies and gentlemen, I only got 3 words for you. Bye, bye, bye. That's right, number 1 goes to the Bye Bye Man. The first time I saw this trailer in the theater, the entire audience laughed when they showed the title. It's simply a terrible name for a horror villain. The Bye Bye Man is in the film for about 2 whole minutes and looks like the love child of Emperor Palpatine and Lord Voldemort. Coins drop and footage of a train rolling on a track is shown, and we have no idea why, because we learn nothing about this character's lore or get no explanation why he's doing this to his victims. When he finally does show up near the end, he points at the characters. Ooh, spooky. There's nothing scary here at all, and it makes a better comedy than it does a horror flick. A character is singing the song Bye Bye Love, and it's supposed to be creepy, but it's so over the top and cheesy it made the audience laugh hysterically instead. It takes every single horror movie cliche and makes them play out worse than usual. Terribly written dialogue, lines so stupid you'll want to slap your own head, bad acting all around. It's a train wreck, so I couldn't wait to say bye 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 to this as I ran out of the theater. Alright, well that's the show. I'll be back with my picks, what I thought were the best movies of 2017 in the next episode. But until then, don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube. youtube.com/westside515. Like the show on Facebook, facebook.com/westtruebaylist. And of course, you can follow me on the Twitter and the Instagram @WesAList. Until next time, Troop out.